Testing, testing. Good evening, Mr. Shaw.
Good evening, Ms. McClendon. Good evening, Dr. Poteet.
Good evening, Dr. Foti.
Mrs. McClendon, Mr. Shaw, how are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
Miss Moore, good
Very
evening.
good.
Moore?
Good evening, Ms.
Good
Moore.
evening. Good evening. I'll be back.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
My name is Brianna DeLuca. I'm from the Camden County Health Department.
Okay. Our board president isn't on
Yes.
yet.
No,
Okay,
Mrs.
I just
McClendon.
want to make sure.
Yes, Mrs. DeLuco, this is Dr. Poteet. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks.
Good, good. Mrs. DeLuco is going to do a brief presentation for us this evening, board members. I invited her as a result of the question being asked of me some time ago about having someone from the Camden County Health Department to come in and explain to us some of the questions or concerns some of the parents may have. So I'll do a brief introduction, Mrs. Mrs. DeLuco, once we get to awards and presentations, okay?
Okay, wonderful.
Great.
Okay. And thank you, Mrs. DeLuco. I tried to reach out early. I just wanted to make sure that you were available, all right?
All right. Yep, I'm here. Sorry, I was
Okay.
actually off today, but
That's all
Here
right.
now.
I'll just do just a brief intro and purpose as to why. So I'll handle that. And once I introduce you, then we'll go from there. Now, Mrs.
Great.
DeLuco, did you want to answer any questions today or just do the presentation?
you know what? I was just going to do a quick briefing
That's all right.
on the
That's
process
good.
contact
That's good.
tracing. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Great.
That's why I called earlier. You're not obligated. I think just doing the overview of what we had discussed and in reference to the letter, I think is more than enough at this point. So I do appreciate you coming on.
Great. No problem.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. How's everyone
Good
doing?
evening, Ms. Pitts.
How are you?
Mr. Long, good evening.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you all.
Hello, Mr. Long.
Good evening, Mr. Long.
Nice new hairstyle, Miss Moore.
Thank you. Morning, or good morning, good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Peterson.
It's been a long day.
Mm.
Yeah. Someone was very busy on sending out messages. I love it. PR chair is doing a fantastic job.
And she really got, it really looks good. It really is.
Yeah, she does.
I
Thank you.
like when you
And
guys,
what time are you getting up to do that?
Actually, Miss McCrary does a lot of stuff behind the scene as well, so she's part of our Facebook team.
Okay, because I said, oh, what time she
So
getting up to do all this?
Hello,
she does a lot of the good evening, Miss Dredden.
Good evening,
Good
Miss
evening, Ms.
Dredden.
Dredden.
Good
She
evening,
does a lot of
everyone.
the postings, Miss Peterson.
Well, I'm telling you, but then you take it over to Winslow. Is it Winslow Talk? So,
Right, I try to pass along to some of the other
I
pages.
see it. I see it.
Miss Pitts,
Yes,
this is Gina.
yes, Gina.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know that I'm doing the meeting tonight.
Okay,
And,
fine. Good. Gina,
yes,
question. I completed my, the annual financial disclosure.
yes.
I just wanted to make sure that I uploaded and downloaded, and then just wanted to make sure that Tara received it.
Okay, I will let her know that you did that. I don't have access to see if who has access or who has submitted
Okay.
it and who has it not. So
Okay,
I'll let her know.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Let's see, who are we waiting for? Mr. Blake, Mr. Shaw.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, I see Mr. Blake. I'm just
Okay.
going through. I don't see Miss Thomas. That's who I don't see.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr.
Good
Blake.
evening.
It's a great day in Winslow Public Schools.
Okay.
How you doing, Mr. Blake?
It's a rainy day, Mr. Blake, but it's still a great day.
It's not
Always a
good for
great
people
day.
who have terrible tendonitis on the left hand.
And arthritis, yeah.
It's a great day in Winslow.
It's still a great day in Winslow.
you have a rain day today, Mr. Blake?
Huh?
Today you had a rain day?
It's a rainy day, but it's still a great day here in
Yeah,
Winslow.
yes, it is.
Miss Peterson,
Yes.
I need a pair of your glasses. I broke mine.
Oh, I have a few, so I'll meet you somewhere. I have to meet someone. I have to meet someone at 6:15 at Panera Bread tomorrow, so I can drop some off to you.
Oh, I'm going around here. I try to get my appointment. This glass, I can't even. It's just sitting there. I take the one glass, wipe it off if I can. Try to put it back. Oh,
Miss Martin,
boy.
how are you this evening? Miss Martin?
I am great, thank you. I had to unmute myself. I'm
Okay.
great.
Good evening, Miss Martin.
Good evening, Miss McClendon. How are you?
It's a great
Okay,
day in
board members,
Winslow.
I was,
Why
I
we
just need
say,
to know who is
It
going to
is a great
volunteer.
day in Winslow.
Board
why we
members,
say
board members,
happy Wednesday?
Happy
board
Wednesday.
members, question.
Yes.
As I said, I'm kind of in a bit pain here. The Advil isn't kicking in. So I was going to read the district goals. Can I get someone to volunteer? Because usually I just appoint, but I was going to do it tonight. Can someone volunteer to read the district goals?
I can
I'll
read it,
read them
Madam
for you.
President.
Okay, who
Oh.
said it first?
Go ahead, Miss Martin.
Oh, you sure? Because you can do
I
it.
read them last board meeting, so by all means.
Okay, Rita, so you'll do them for me?
The district goals.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I will.
And so board members, if I begin to fade, you just know that Ms. Peterson is here for you. Okay?
With my allergies and all.
Because this left wrist is really,
Oh, I know
okay.
it. My hip,
All right, folks, lights,
camera,
action. No, lights, camera,
camera.
action. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Winslow Township Board of Education's regular board meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. And a good evening, Ms. Thomas.
Good evening, Ms. Thomas.
Good
The
evening.
notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates. The notice is dated February 1st, 2021. Adequate and electronic notice of this public meeting has been provided, specifying the time, place, and manner in which this meeting is being conducted. It was advertised in the Courier Post, posted in all of our schools, the administration office, the municipal building, the library, the Bud Dubel Center, Edgewood Acres, Elmtown, and the Winslow Township post offices. And this is our mission statement. The mission of the Winslow Township School District, a large, diverse, and growing community, is to educate all students to become independent, lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and caring and confident members of our community. The district, in partnership with the community and in a climate of cooperation and mutual respect, will provide an academic environment which values excellence and diversity, encourages students to strive for personal excellence, and assists them in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to contribute positively, to a rapidly changing world. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Present.
Ms. Dredden,
Mr. Dredden,
you're,
I'm sorry, I was muted. Here,
Ms. Martin,
Present.
Ms. McClendon,
Present.
Ms. Moore,
present.
Mr. Shaw,
Present.
Ms. Thomas,
Present.
Ms. Peterson,
Present.
Ms. Pitts.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Gina. Maybe now just take a few minutes and pause for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag
of the United
United
States
States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it
which
stands,
stands
one nation,
under
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Thank you, everyone. Ms. Martin, our district goals, please.
Yes, Madam President. 2020-21 district goals. Student achievement. Continue to implement best practices for delivering instruction to students utilizing all available and appropriate instructional modes. This shall include A, ensuring articulation at all grade levels throughout the district. B, focus on classroom instruction at all grade levels. C, ensuring all students have equal access to equipment and resources needed to facilitate and promote student learning in any setting. D, evaluation and updating all district programs. E, accountability of all district staff. Number 2, continue to foster a positive school environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. A, focus on building relationships among staff that will result in increased learning and more effective instruction. B, promote creative instruction, training, and retraining. C, emphasis on collaboration with all district stakeholders. D, promote cultural competence throughout district. E, teacher to student relationships. And F, student to student relationships. Number 3, market our strengths and achievements to all stakeholders to increase capacity for greater parent, caregiver, community support. A, continue with our public relations marketing plan. B, continue to work with the various advisory committees in the district. And C, examine communication methods utilized by the district.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Moving now, board members, to awards and presentations. Dr. Poteet?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board and community. We do have a presentation this evening. During my last Real Talk with the superintendent, one of the parents asked me, could we have someone from the Camden County Department of Health call into one of our meetings and explain some of the procedures, particularly contact tracing, the reporting of COVID cases in the district. And I said that I would reach out. I did reach out to the Camden County Department of Education. However, in the interim, I received an anonymous letter, as well as the person who is joining us also received the same anonymous letter, speaking to some issues that may or may not have been taking place here in the Winslow Township School District as it pertains to contact tracing, COVID cases, reporting, etc. So at this time, we do have Ms. Rihanna DeLuco from the Camden County Health Department, who's willing to come meet with us this evening and clarify some of the issues that may have been addressed in that particular letter, and anything at this point that she felt necessary to respond to. So at this point, Mrs. DeLuco, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
My
Good
name is
evening.
Rihanna DeLuca. I'm from the Camden County Health Department in the Communicable Disease Unit. And tonight I just wanted to speak on the protocols with COVID and schools and, you know, the partnership between schools and the health department. The health department works closely with the schools every day. We have a designated email address that is monitored evenings, weekends, every day. Schools can write in with questions, usually about, you know, quarantine guidance or what happens if they have a positive case in the school. So Winslow has been great. They are working with us. They've been reporting the cases that, you know, are occurring in their schools. When we hear from a school that they have a positive case, we work with our contact person, whether it's the school nurse, the principal, the superintendent, and we try to, you know, work together to find out did that person have close contacts in the building. A close contact is defined as someone who is within 6 feet of an infected individual for a cumulative of 15 minutes, or if that person was coughed on, sneezed on by the infected person. So if somebody doesn't meet that definition, they do not have to quarantine. If somebody does meet that definition, we always recommend a 14-day quarantine. Shortened quarantine periods may be adopted now that our region is in a moderate risk, but we always recommend a 14-day. That's the safest policy. So when we contact trace, we work closely with the nurse. We don't go in person to the location. It's the school's responsibility to notify anybody deemed a close contact, and the health department can follow up. So that's basically the procedure for contact tracing in schools.
Okay. Mrs. DeLuco, first of all, I want to thank you. And I just wanted to, because I know at one point there were some concerns about one of our schools in particular. And I want the community as well as the board to know that all of the school nurses at this point are working closely with the Camden County Health Department. And the first reporting comes directly from the school nurse. And then I am contacted directly from the school nurse or the Camden County Department of Health, and then the process begins. Since August of this school year, I was the one who was sending out all the letters. And in some cases, it can become somewhat overwhelming if you're dealing with multiple schools, which means in many cases, it can also mean multiple letters. But now we are transitioning that process back to the building principals who will be doing the letters to the community as well as to the parents, et cetera. So at this point, Mr. Luco, thank you very much for joining us and for that clarification. And if there's any need for any additional assistance, I appreciate the work and the assistance you guys have been providing us since we started back in August. But thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, Mrs. Pitts, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Poteet. Would there be at this time any correspondence? Ms. Chico?
None at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Moving now, board members. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings. First, our regular meeting, which was held on March 10th, 2021, open session. Is there a motion?
Motion Shaw.
Second, Blake.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Would there be any comments or questions with regards to those minutes? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas. Yes. Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Chico. Board members at this time also asking for a motion to approve the minutes from our regular meeting of March 10th, 2021, closed session. Is there a motion?
Motion Shaw.
Blake, second.
Been moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Would there be further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas. Yes. Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Chico. Board members, moving now to our committee reports. Would there be a committee report from the athletic committee?
Yes, Madam President. The athletic committee met on Thursday, March 18th at 5:30 p.m. In attendance were Dr. Poteet, myself, Ms. McClendon, and Mr. Whitaker, the athletic director. The topics of the agenda were spring sports, which start April 1st, 2021 at the high school. The middle school will begin after spring break on April 19th. High school and middle school sports registration for the spring, which is phase 4, began on Family ID on March 1st, 2021. Wrestling and volleyball season began on March 1st. So those seasons are underway. And I believe Ms. McClendon, we sent over a link to her for posting the home games that were being live streamed. So that way the community could watch those matches and games for the girls volleyball and the wrestling team. Also, boys and girls indoor track will end on the 27th, which is the end of next week. And there will be no, I believe there's no sectionals or any title matches for that this year. Excuse me. The one thing we did discuss at the end of this meeting was a collaboration with the township and the local teams, going all the way down from all the little ones and having, our school district work with them. So I had a conversation with the mayor, and the mayor is going to work with us, so that way we can start a collaborative effort with Parks and Rec and start to build up our youth sports with our high school and middle school sports to start keeping some of our athletes in our district, start working with them and start building a unified effort between the two programs. So that's something we're going to be working on, for probably a long while, and hopefully that stays around, because I know it was something that we did in the past talking to Mr. Whitaker, and I hope to keep that, as we build steam on it, I hope to keep it going in all the sports so we could build all our programs into championship winning programs at our high school and middle school levels.
Okay, Oh, does that conclude your report, Mr. Shaw?
Yes, that concludes the report.
Thank you. That's good news there near the end, Mr. Shaw. I'm very, very pleased to hear that. And I'm hoping that certainly that we will see that grow. Moving now to our Education Committee, is there a report out of our Education Committee?
Yes, Madam President. It's Ms. Thomas.
Yes, Ms. Thomas.
The Education Committee met on Tuesday, March 16th. The meeting came to order at 3:02 p.m. Via the district's WebEx platform. In attendance were District Liaison Dr. Dorothy Carcamo, Assistant Superintendent, board members Ms. Rita Martin, myself, Kelly Thomas, and Ms. Julie Peterson, Education Committee Chair. The following items were discussed, District student enrollment numbers. For February, there were 4,553. And for March, there were 4,542. C is the current and projected hybrid student enrollment. That was as of March 16th. So as of March 16th, the total for hybrid was 1,204, and the total request for fourth marking period enrollment was 473. But again, that was of March 16th. Number 2 was the return to school updates. We talked about special welcome back school activities included. Teacher made creative COVID safety reminders of social distancing, marquee welcome signage, classroom visits to welcome students and to discuss new expectations regarding social distancing and signs through the building. School Spirit Day, where staff wore their favorite school number 4 shirts. Welcome back bulletin, Read Across America week of activities, celebrating literacy by wearing favorite hat, red and white, crazy mismatched socks, crazy hairstyle, and completing an act of kindness. Also, video presentations, virtual assembly, and welcome back banner and meet and greet for each grade level during their lunch period. B, we reviewed the technology concerns pertaining to devices submitted to the district's technology support team. That was based on ticket number, issue, and resolution for the past 2 weeks for schools 1 through 6, middle school, and high school. Number 3, we discussed the New Jersey statewide assessment. And as of March 16th, the district had not received any additional information from the New Jersey Department of Education. 4, the state monitoring will take place April 20th through the 23rd, 2021. Number 5, the 2021-2022 budgetary considerations. A was preschool funding cut. $375,000 was cut from the preschool funding. And B, teachers' aides were 11 teachers and 11 aides for the districts. The district had to contribute funding of $700,000. Number 6 was the summer initiatives. A, Title I students will have a virtual program from July 7th through August 6th. B, teachers will have a special education summer initiative from July 7th through August 13th. And C, summer readings. The meeting adjourned at 4:24 p.m. and the next meeting is scheduled for 3 o'clock on Tuesday, April 20th.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Would there be any questions or comments with regards to the education report? Ms. Kelly, I just have one question. I think you indicated that the district was going to be monitored, I think, sometime in April. Is that the CUSAC monitoring?
I believe so.
No, excuse me, Mrs. Pitts, I can answer that. It's Dr. Carcamo.
Yes,
This
Dr.
is the
Carcamo.
monitoring of all of our federal programs, so
I
it will
see.
be extensive. Special ed, Perkins grant, early childhood grant, our title grant. It is a complete monitoring process.
I see. I see. Thank you, Dr. Carcamo.
Welcome.
Moving now to, would there be a report out of our Equity Equality Committee?
No report, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Moving now to our Marketing Committee, would there be a report out of our Marketing Committee?
Madam President, we don't have a report, but there was a couple things I would like to share from the Marketing Committee.
Yes.
First of all, on behalf of the marketing team, we just want to take this time to publicly thank everyone for attending the town hall. Thank you for working with us because we were doing something different this town hall or this time around. We wanted to add something different to it to make it a little bit more community friendly. And so with that being said, congratulations to our icebreaker winners. There was a post on our Facebook page, but I definitely would like to just mention them publicly. Dr. Poteet's room, our first place winner was Becky. And I'm only going to use the names that you used on the actual icebreaker Kahoot game. Second place was Mama Bear. Third place was Purple. And the runners-up was Sonia L. and Fifi. In Mr. Blake's room, first place winner was D.M. Davis. Second place was D. Third place was P as in Peter. And the runners-up was Azu for fourth place and Kelly E. for fifth place. Lastly, in McClendon's Red Room, we have first place was Jay Shaw. Second place was Jim M. Third place was Rita Martin. And our fourth place and fifth place runners up was Stacy for fourth place, Abby for fifth place. So we thank you for your participation in the town hall with us. And we hope that you not only just enjoyed the icebreaker, but there was definitely some great fun facts about Winslow. And these were our Winslow Knowledge Bowl winners. So hopefully you walked away with knowing more information about our district as well as in our township. Secondly, I just want to add on to what Mr. Shaw talked about in the athletic committee. As I mentioned multiple times, is that the marketing team is going to work closely with a lot of our other committees just to promote some things. One of the things regarding the athletic side, when we start looking at coaches, we are going to push it through our Facebook page. So please be out on the lookout. We are looking for Winslow's best because we know we have some great coaches out there in different areas. You must have certifications, of course, and meet the qualifications in order to be considered. But we want to pull back in our own community because we know we have some people out there that have those skill sets that they would be willing to work with our students on our sports teams. Also, just want to round up, we're coming towards the end of our March Women's History Month. We've spotlighted some great women of excellence, and we know that there are definitely more women out there of excellence, but we hope that you have enjoyed watching and seeing and learning more about some of the great things these individuals have done either in our community, contributed to our school. Now, I know that I have received some feedback from some people who may not agree with some of the people spotlighted or just was wondering why we weren't spotlighting teachers, custodians, bus drivers. And, you know, I can definitely tell you that the marketing team, which consists of Mr. Blake, Ms. Moore, Dr. Poteet, and myself, the one thing we know is we have some valuable teachers in this district. We appreciate the work that our teachers do, and we know that they are on the front line. However, one of the things we thought about is spotlighting a teacher. There's not enough spaces because we have hundreds of great teachers. I can say I have top five for myself. Mr. Blake can say he has five, but what determines which teachers we spotlight? And we are going to do something as we continue to think about how to spotlight all of our teachers because they all are phenomenal. So we don't want the community or parents to think that we are thinking less of our teachers, of the commitment that they made, but we want to do something that's going to spotlight and shine all of them and not have to pick and choose. Because what that does is makes one say, well, why is that teacher spotlighted and this teacher isn't? So we have to look at the entire picture. We only had 23 days, so we don't want you to take away from that and think that our teachers aren't important to us, because I can tell you that they are. And when we do make a tribute to our teachers, I'm sure that you will like it. So bear with us because the marketing team just came about this particular team January. Give us some time. Just sit back, watch and see what we're doing with the Facebook page. Our overall goal is to uplift our district as well as promote all the positive aspects of it. So I just wanted to follow up with that because I know some people had some concerns and I wanted to address it publicly so that everyone knows that we have not forgotten about our teachers or all those other pertinent people that work in our district to continue to keep our district running. Lastly, one more thing, the marketing committee will tentatively, we're looking at meeting next month, April the 13th, as we prepare for our 20th anniversary of when Edgewood became Winslow. So we will be meeting to start planning for that, to figure out how we want to celebrate. Again, community members, parents, if you have any ideas or suggestions, please send it to the marketing team. We definitely would like to take your input and see how we can incorporate it into this celebration. Thank you. That concludes my, not report, but my statements. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, once again, we got a great broadcast from our marketing committee. And to your point, Ms. McClendon, with regards to you getting comments with regards to honoring in March the Women of Excellence, I could see going forward that that is something that the district could do, because each year there's going to be a month of March, and the month of March is for it's Women's History Month. So since this has been such a very popular and exciting thing that we shared with the community, let's look forward to having this being done annually. And to the point of the statements that have come your way with regards to honoring other employees in the district, specifically teachers, I totally agree. You have to understand that, again, I hope those who commented to you understand that this is Women's Month, that if we're just going to look at all our teachers, you know, we have male teachers and we have male employees. So I want you to remember that, community. But I think that this Women of Excellence spotlighting the 23 women in the for the each school day of this month is going very, very well, very well.
You're absolutely right, Madam President. And like you said, there are more months coming up. So as the marketing team continues to be creative and productive, because I have some great creative thinking minds on the marketing team. So, you know, we are thinking of ways to do a lot more as we continue to move forward throughout the rest of this year.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving now to our Operations Committee. Is there a report from our Operations Committee?
None at this time, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Drayton. Moving now to our Policy Committee. And here's the report out of our Policy Committee. The Policy Committee met on virtually on March 11th, 2021. Members present was Ms. Lorraine Drayton, Ms. Cindy Moore, our board members, Ms. Rita Martin, our board members, Mr. Dion Davis, our Director of Human Resources, and our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Dorothy Carcamo, and yours truly, Cheryl Pitts, President. The Policy Committee held a virtual meeting on March 11th, 2021 at 4 p.m. to review policies that would be recommended for a first reading at tonight's meeting, March 24th, 2021, Board of Education meeting. 11 mandated policies, 4 regulations, and 2 bylaws were reviewed. Of the 11 policies reviewed, there were 2 new mandated policies and 1 new regulation. Now, the new policies that we reviewed were policy number 1643 that deals with family leave, and policy 7425, which deals with lead testing of water in our schools. Now, the new regulations that we reviewed were also regulation 7425 that dealt with lead testing of water in our schools. 2 bylaws were also presented for review. Bylaw number 0164.6, which deals with the remote public board meeting during a declared emergency. That was held for further discussion and will be presented for first reading later in April. Bylaw number 0145, which deals with board member regulation and removal, was adjusted to ensure clarity of the information and was recommended to be moved forward for first reading. 6 policies were recommended to be abolished because they were incorporated into 2 of the newer policies that we reviewed. Those recommended for abolishment were as follows. Policy number 32515.01, which deals with academic standards, academic assessments, and accountability. Policy number 2415.03, which deals with highly qualified teachers. Policy number 3431.1, which deals with the family leave. Policy number 3431.3, which deals with New Jersey leave insurance. And policy number 4431.1, which deals with family leave also. And lastly, policy 4431.3, which deals with New Jersey leave insurance. At the request of Board Member Ms. Cindy Moore, a brief discussion about the attendance policy and possible COVID symptoms took place. There were no recommended changes to the attendance policy. The meeting adjourned at approximately 5:15. The next policy committee is tentatively scheduled for April, I believe, 22nd. More information will follow. Would there be any questions or comments as it relates to the policy committee, board meetings, minutes?
Madam President, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Just with a couple of the policies that are coming before us right now, with the
Yes.
board member resignation and removal, you said there was needed clarity. Was there anything particular? Like, can you kind of just share with us what was it about that particular one, the clarity?
Yes, what the state has done is to make it more clear with regards to removal of a board member. For instance, as we all probably are aware, if a board member misses 3 consecutive meetings, that's definitely something that we have to address. However, it simply, in the past, simply said that that was cause for removing. What has been added to that policy is this, the fact that before a board can take that step with any member, that member has to have a hearing first before that decision is made. And that was what needed to be clarified in that policy.
Okay. And every student succeeds at complaints. What was that? Like, was that something just added, a new policy, or was it something that was, and this was the policy 2415-20?
Policy 2415, highly qualified teachers?
No, it says every student succeeds at
Mrs. Pitts,
complaints.
may I respond, please?
Yes, Dr. Harkema.
So if you recall, Mrs. Pitts and committee members, that policy had minor changes, and it's a name change. That policy used to be No Child Left Behind.
Aha.
And because it's been replaced with Every Child Succeed. So it was simply a name.
That's what I was thinking, Dr. Carcamo, but I wasn't sure. So it sounds like it, but it wasn't the same wording. So that's what I was wondering
correct.
with
Yeah,
that
just
one.
name
Thank you.
change.
Okay.
Okay,
And one
thank
more,
you, Dr.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Political contributions. What was the change to that policy? That's the policy 6360.
Policy 6360? I don't see policy 6360 here in my report. Where are you lifting that information from, Ms. McClendon?
It's on the agenda. So it says
let me respond to that one as well. I believe
yes, Dr. Carcamo.
That simply had to do with the code citation.
Okay.
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 Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, ladies.
All right. Any other questions with regards to the policy committee report? Thank you. Moving now, board members, to the Citizens Advisory Committee. Ms. Martin, would there be any comments with regards to the Citizens Advisory Committee?
No, the Citizens Advisory Committee will be meeting the first Thursday in April
Okay, thank you, Ms.
at
Martin.
7 p.m.
One of the things that I would like to share with the board, and Dr. Poteet later in his information will expound on it. If you can recall, one of the recommendations that came from the Citizens Advisory Committee at our last meeting, I believe one of the members was Megan Byer, and she had talked about the possibility of making our website more user-friendly as it relates to being able to send emails to our teachers. And so I had a conversation with Dr. Poteet. Also, a conversation ensued between Ms. McClendon and myself, and that there is a change that's going to be made, and I'm sure that everyone will be pleased with it. But here again, Dr. Poteet will give you more information on that as we proceed in our agenda. Okay? All right, so that concludes our committee reports. So therefore, at this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins on page 2 and continues through to the top of page 7. Is there a motion?
Motion Shaw.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Would there be further comments or questions?
Question,
Hearing
Madam
none,
President.
roll call, please. Did
Question.
someone? Okay, Ms.
Yes.
McClendon?
Page 5,
Mm-hmm.
number 18 for the middle school sustainable summit. So the middle school is presenting at the summit. Is that something that's open to the public? I don't know, Dr. Poteet, if you have a response to that.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. That information will be provided as we get closer to that particular date. As you can recall, the Winslow Township Middle School won the middle school championship for receiving the most points. This is an opportunity for them to present as a result of that award, but they do provide us with that information well in advance, so you'll be able to join in.
Perfect, because definitely I would like to attend that, and I'm not sure if any other board members would like to be present for that. So, thank you.
Any further questions? So therefore, that has been moved in second. No further questions. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chico. Board members, at this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the business administrator, board secretary's report that begins at page 7. And as you can see, continues through to the top of page 11. Is there a motion?
Motion Shaw.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Chico. Moving now, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report that begins at the middle of page 11 and continues through to the bottom of page 12. Is there a motion?
Motion Shaw.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Chico. Board members, moving now to our addendum, and I'm sure that we've all were able to receive our addendum and had an opportunity to read it through. So therefore, at this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the this evening's board addendum that begins on page 1 and continues through to the bottom of page 2. And I would just mention to Ms. Moore with regards to this, as you know, I'm sure you already know, there's no need for you to place a motion. Okay? So therefore, moved by Mr. Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a second?
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. McClendon,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Abstain.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Chico. Moving now to the open public record request. Ms. Chico, any requests?
None at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Moving now, board members to old business. Board members, will there be any old business to discuss at this time? Thank you. Hearing none, moving now, board members to new business. Board members, would there be any new business that you would care to discuss at this time?
Madam President, if I may,
Yes, Ms. Martin?
I'd just like to bring some information from the New Jersey School Boards Association's Directors meeting, which was held on March 19th, 2021 via WebEx. The New Jersey School Board 2021-22 budget was approved unanimously by the Board of Directors at their meeting on March 19th. The proposed budget for the next school year represents a 1.9 increase over last year's budget, and for the 12th consecutive year does not raise dues for the New Jersey School Boards Association membership. To Workshop 2021. The difficult decision has been made to hold only a virtual workshop this October. The decision was based on data from a member survey, financial projections, feedback from potential sponsors and exhibitors. It is a decision that both ensures the health and safety of members and staff and protects the association from sustaining a projected financial loss in excess of $100,000. The 2020 virtual conference was a resounding success. It attracted 6,000 participants who were able to access more than 100 sessions and nearly 140 exhibitors. This year's virtual workshop will provide the same training resources and networking features from last year and will add additional opportunities for engagement and interaction. County meetings. Each year, the New Jersey School Boards Association produces, in conjunction with the 21 county school board associations, the 8th grade dialogue and unsung heroes program to help board members hear what is on the minds of their students. Districts participate in one or the other program. They don't take part in both. Invitations for these programs, which will be conducted virtually because of the pandemic, have been sent to all the districts. If you are certain that your district has not been contacted and you would like to be sure that your school participates in one of the programs, please email Ray Penny, New Jersey School Board's Member Engagement Director, at rpenny@njsba.org no later than March 31st. Last, the New Jersey School Board strategic plan in coming months. The New Jersey School Boards Association will be developing a new strategic plan. NJSBA will be assessing the attitudes of the membership, staff, and outside education stakeholders through surveys and input sessions on what they see as the association's strengths and challenges. That completes my report.
No, thank you, Ms. Martin. That's very comprehensive. You know, it has been said more than once that change is necessary in times of great adversity. And one of the things that has really changed that has been most notable for me, Ms. Martin, has to do with the fact that our annual school board convention is being held virtually. Now, last year, of course, was the first time. And so now I'm hearing now that again here in 2021 it would be virtual. I only say that because I'm thinking in terms of, again, at one time, we were all new board members. And particularly with regard to our board, I'm thinking about now Ms. Thomas and Ms. Moore, and I'm hoping that perhaps 2022, we will have a chance to have that convention in person, because we really, while we're still having it, there is much to be said, board members, about actually going down and networking. I see Mr. Shaw shaking his head too, and networking with thousands of school board members from across this state. So fingers crossed. Change is inevitable, and we're going through it now. But hopefully, 2022 will be better. Again, thank you, Ms. Martin.
You're welcome.
Moving now.
Mrs.
Yes.
Pitts, I had an item.
Yes, Ms. Moore.
Now that the weather, not looking outside today, but now that the weather is getting nicer, are we going to allow the children to use the playgrounds at all during the school day?
That would be something, that would be a good question for Dr. Poteet.
Yes, they'll be able to use the playgrounds, but we are working with the building principals to make sure that thorough cleaning is going to take place as much as possible between the uses. We have several grades in our schools, and we need to work out a process where we can do as much cleaning as possible in between that use. So at this point, I would say yes, but if there's anything that changes that, then I will make sure that is reported not only to the board, but the community.
Okay, and I should have brought this up during policy, but I wanted to ask if Dr. Carcamo would mind just giving clarification about the process for when students are going to be absent, and, you know, talking to the nurses and how that whole thing works.
So our process for notification for absences hasn't changed, and that is, if a student is absent, they must notify the school. If a child is ill, the parent needs to communicate with the school nurse, and then the school nurse can advise them what steps need to be taken from that point forward. The notification has to come before an absence and not after.
Okay.
Any further questions, Ms. Moore?
No, I just, and you know, this was one of the questions I had, and it was about whether or not remote learning would be a possibility at any time if a student wasn't able to attend school.
Mrs. Moore, that situation will be held on a case-by-case basis. We encourage the parents to, as we've always done, and again, that hasn't changed since we were in our normal school setting. If your child is going to be absent, just call the building principal and they will communicate directly with you. And at that point, they can work that situation out. At this point, we encourage the parents just to let us know so that we can make sure that the child does not lose any time. One of the issues that we did run into when we didn't want our parents or the students to take advantage of a situation whereby I don't want to go to school today, so I'm just going to stay home and do full remote as opposed to being in attendance. So that's why we would prefer that the parents speak directly to the building principal and let them work that out on a one-to-one basis at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Board members, now we're about to move into our informational items. And before I pass this over to Dr. Poteet, I just want to mention, I'm hoping that Mr. Ken Britton has joined us tonight, because he did send me an email and he had a few questions. And again, I have not been able to today do too much typing, but I just want Mr. Britton to know that his questions will be answered certainly tonight. Dr. Poteet will be answering them. And again, just to mention to Mr. and Mrs. Jeff Belmonte with regards to their child returning, I just wanted them to know that yes, we did get that letter. All right. Moving now to informational items, Dr. Potteet.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board and community, I have a few information items. Most of you may know that the governor had his daily health briefing today, and there are some new CDC guidelines that have been shared with us. And in the process of me going through my responses, I will touch on some of those new indicators. Right now, the governor indicated that the positive cases are on the rise across the state of New Jersey. The positivity rate, they didn't go specifically by county, but they did by region. The South Jersey's positivity rate is now at 10.7, up from 5.5% a week ago. The Camden County, we have 127 new cases, which brings us to 42,063 cases total. Winslow Township had 3 new cases, which brings us to a total of 3,161. During the governor's health briefing today, he stated that he wanted all schools to open for full in-person instruction in September. When he was asked whether or not full remote instruction would be available, he stated, as of today, no. Full remote instruction will not be available in September. However, he did state that the only way that will become available if there is a rise in the community spread of the virus, which will prevent school districts from having total face-to-face. But at this point, we are planning to have full face-to-face instruction in September because that's the direction we've been given from the governor at this time. The new CDC guidelines were shared today that stated elementary students may be social distanced at 3 feet apart as opposed to 6 feet apart. And it also stated that middle school and high school students will remain at 6 feet apart, particularly if there's a high community spread. The only way you can consider 3 feet apart is that the community spread is at a very, very low level. But I want the community to know that right now and for the remainder of this school year, Winslow Township School District will exercise 6 feet of social distancing in all of our classrooms and throughout the entire school district. It was also stated that as long as you continue to follow the medical and safety protocols, everyone should still be wearing a mask. Everyone, of course, should continue social distancing, washing hands as frequently as possible. And we are going to maintain those protocols that we have in our school district for the remainder of the school year. One other thing that we received from the state was that the state assessment is still scheduled for April, in as much as the governor have written to the federal government and asked them for a waiver. That waiver at this time has not been received or approved. So therefore, we must continue to prepare our parents and community for state assessment in April. For our parents, we know that spring break starts next week. The CDC states that travel increase your chances of spreading and getting COVID-19. The CDC recommends that you do not, they're asking that you should not travel at this time, particularly since the spread of the virus is rising. Parents, if you must travel beyond New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New York, and Connecticut, according to the New Jersey Department of Education and the Camden County Department of Education, upon your return to New Jersey, your children are, and if your children are participating in the hybrid instruction model in the Winslow Township School District, those children must quarantine for 10 days and remain home for those days after you come from your vacation, particularly if you go, for example, to Florida or outside of those 5 states that were indicated. I did a robocall yesterday, and Friday, March 26th is the last day for hybrid instruction registration. If you are interested, please go to your child's school website and register. We are going to close that out on the 26th at 4 p.m. At this time, Mrs. Pitts, I would like to address Mr. Britton's questions because it gets a little more detailed as it pertains to the CDC guidelines. Mr. Britton asked, the state has lowered social distance protocols from 6 feet to 3 feet, effectively allowing space for more students in classrooms. Is this going to affect our current hybrid plan? No, it will not, Mr. Britton. We will maintain 6 feet social distancing in our schools up and through the end of this school year. Are classes allowed to be larger or more days back in school? The classes will not get much larger. However, I want to reiterate, as of yesterday, March 23rd, we have 863 students who have registered for our hybrid model. And even with that number of students, we will not have classrooms that will affect our 6 feet of social distancing. So yes, the classroom sizes based on our hybrid model will be increased. However, we set up our plan back in August as if all of the students in the school district were returning for hybrid. At this point, we're looking at maybe 2,000, and based on our present enrollment, that will not affect our 6 feet of social distancing. We will not be going to 5 days a week. We will remain 2 days a week, either Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. Wednesday will still be a full remote day for us. So the new process will not interfere with what we presently have in place. We will continue with our hybrid model until the end of this school year. He'd asked us, when will we bring this to the public's attention? And it happens to be on a board meeting night. So this is our first opportunity to express to the public where we are. And in April, during the Real Talk with the Superintendent, I will expound upon this again. We are looking for the recommendations following in 5 days. And that concludes the questions, Mrs. Pitts, that Mr. Britton had asked.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Poche.
I want to revisit the substitute situation in the school district because I know the last time I had an opportunity to address it, I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. And of course, I should have called upon the individual that handles this for the district, and he would have been able to give you accurate numbers. But since I've had an opportunity to review with him what our present situation is, I would like to share that with you. On average, the Winslow Township School District have 25 to 30 teachers absent a day. That is across the entire school district. We may get 2 subs a day to accommodate that 30 students, that 30 teachers. When we don't get enough substitutes, which is a normal process because having 30 teachers absent a day on a regular basis is no different than we had last year and the 3, 4, 5 years prior to that, because for those of you who can recall, substitutes has always been a topic of discussion at board meetings. And we even selected a new substitute service, which promised us that they would do a better job than the previous company. We presently work with Kelly Services, and Kelly Services find themselves in the same situation as previous vendors and not being able to get enough subs. There are a few reasons based on our research we found out why many people aren't available, because we used to get a few more, but we found out that many people do not want to come into sub because of COVID-19. Some people, of course, are receiving unemployment, and their unemployment may exceed what they would normally be making as a substitute. And we as a school district will be looking at our per diem rate because in our research, in comparison to other school districts, we're going to have to raise that per diem rate so that we can possibly draw more to our school district, because at this point it's very competitive and all of the school districts in our area are pulling from the same pool, which means there are a limited number of teachers available. But I just want you to know, unfortunately, this is normal, but the impact is greater now because the students are at home, which means that in normal situations when everybody is in school, if we had 1 or 2 teachers out at the elementary school, we could take those classes and spread them out over the range of the teachers who are there, and therefore those young people can still receive instructional services. Now, because you have more than half or 50% of your young people at home, that impact is far greater, because even though we may be able to accommodate those young people sitting in front of us, the young people at home now will not be able to get the full range of remote instruction that they would normally get. But I just want to reiterate the fact that our average absenteeism is around 30 teachers a day. We have 488 teachers in the school district, and 30 teachers is around maybe 6-7% of our teaching population, which is absent on a daily basis. Moving on, I would like to congratulate Mrs. Kelly, principal at school number 2, Mrs. Clement, principal at school number 4, and their staff for winning $10,000 for their schools from Sustainable New Jersey and the NJEA Foundation for their new school projects that they have just submitted, and they were awarded $10,000. And we look forward to those new projects that they have in place. Okay, let me see. Oh, I wanted to expound on what Mrs. Pitts had mentioned. As a result of the CDC recommendations, and of course, Mrs. Martin, you may now go to your district website, click on the school of your choice, go to parent and scroll down to faculty and staff. And soon as you click faculty and staff, the names of the teachers and their email addresses will appear. We are hoping that that will allow the parents to have more direct contact with their teachers, and we are more than happy to make that change so that it is more convenient for our parents. I just also want to reiterate, Mrs. Martin, we do listen, and we do try to accommodate based on the recommendations made. So we appreciate the Citizens Advisory Committee bringing that to our attention.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And there's one last, which I just received yesterday evening from our Executive County Superintendent. The Tennessee State University have an agreement with Meharry Medical College, and they are looking for students to enroll into their 7-year program, whereby you go to Tennessee State University and then transition over into Meharry College for those individuals who are interested in receiving an MD or DDS degree through their medical school. However, you must have a 28 ACT score and a minimum of a 3.5 GPA. However, there's one thing that I want to make sure that's very clear. Tennessee State University indicated they have more than enough ladies who have applied for the program. And at this point, they're trying to put balance and diversity in their program, and they have very few or no Black males applying for the program. If you are, and I provided this information to Mr. Morella, if you are or know of a Black male student in high school who's a senior who would like to pursue a medical degree through Tennessee State University and Meharry Medical College, we encourage you to please contact your building principal as soon as possible, and we will provide you with the details for this excellent program. However, again, I reiterate, you must have a minimum of a 28 on your ACT, which is a standardized test, and a minimum of a 3.5 grade point average. Madam President, members of the board, that concludes my information items for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Poteet. Moving now, board members.
Madam President, I had some questions regarding some of Dr. Poteet's informational items.
Yes, Ms. McClendon.
Dr. Poteet, you mentioned with the governor saying that in September there will be no remote learning made available. However, just want to know, is there any flexibility being made to the districts, especially if we're saying New Jersey is back on a rise? And I'm only asking because there may be parents out there that are already thinking or maybe even panicking right now that there won't be remote learning made available come September. So is the governor going to give districts that flexibility to decide whether or not if they want to keep remote learning available based off of the numbers in New Jersey rising? Now we're at 10.7, as you mentioned.
Yes, let me reiterate, if and only if the community spread of the COVID is high, that will be a consideration. However, I want to emphasize the fact that the governor emphatically, when the question was asked of him, he said, no, full remote instruction will not be available, and he don't want to if and ands or buts about that. He said, no, there will not be full remote instruction. He wants all schools open in September for full face-to-face instruction. And if and only if, again, there's a community spread, that option will be available. So at this point, the governor has pretty much given us our marching orders. So as a school district, we must start preparing for full face-to-face in-person instruction come September.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is, I wanted to go back to when you talked about the amount of teachers that we possibly have out per day and the amount of subs that we have. What is our workaround plan to accommodate when we run into that situation, which obviously is not an issue that we're creating, but as you said, the pool of subs is being used by multiple districts, and we're not getting enough to accommodate us for the amount of teachers are out. For the elementary school, upper elementary, middle school, and high school, what is our plan for workaround when we're in that situation from a teacher's perspective, not having enough subs to cover?
Well, at this point, we will continue to do what we have been doing because we don't have a choice. If a teacher is absent, we normally try to place those youngsters into another classroom of the same grade level or the same subject area. And in most cases, the teachers have been very receptive and have been assisting us with that situation. To be very honest with you, Mrs. McClendon, we don't have too many choices. Either we move those young people into another class, because you cannot have students that are unsupervised. Every student must be supervised during the course of that day, and they must be in the presence of a certificated person. You can't leave them in the place of an aide or a non-instructional person. At this point, particularly for those young people who are home in the full remote instruction, there aren't too many, other than the teachers in the building itself, there aren't too many options you have available. They just aren't available. And at this point, we thought that changing the vendor would provide us with more subs, but we find ourselves back in the same situation that we've been in for a number of years, and that's not getting enough substitutes. I don't think we're ever going to be in a situation where we'll be able to replace every absent teacher with a substitute in the district. We've never been able to do it before, and I do not anticipate that we'll be in a position where we'll be able to do it in the very near future. So at this point, our only option is placing those youngsters with another teacher in the school building.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, board members, I would say that certainly I'm sure, as Dr. Poteet has indicated, that we're not the only district out of the 600 districts across the
Right.
state that is experiencing it. And so perhaps in this, again, here in this time of greater adversity, sometimes we have to think in terms of doing things in a sense outside of the box. So perhaps board members, maybe we could put on our thinking caps. Maybe we can make some phone calls. Maybe we can do some research and come up with perhaps some ideas that we can share and pass on to our administration so that we can begin to adjust and address this situation. Okay?
And
Great
Madam
idea,
President,
Madam
you are absolutely right. All of my colleagues in Camden County are dealing with the substitute situation. As a matter of fact, several of them had to close their schools down because they didn't have enough teachers available because of the absenteeism. So it is not an issue unique to Winslow. It is, as you stated, not only in Camden County, but across the state.
Okay. All right, board members, moving on. Any other questions, comments?
No, just a comment, Madam President.
Yes, Ms. Peterson.
And in reference to Mahari Medical School stepping out and encouraging our Black males to go into medicine, that's been a big push. And there is Black Male in White Coats documentary that several UCLA is pushing it, Michigan is pushing it, because COVID has taught us that even those that are licensed psychiatrists, you cannot find them. So our males need to know that there are other males that look like them that are in the field. So there's a lot of documentaries in the past 2 years, and many of the medical schools are pushing that.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. It's good to know that there are higher education institutions and medical schools who are looking across this land and saying, we need more doctors. We need more male doctors. That's always good news. Any further comments, questions, board members?
Madam President, I have an informational point as well.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention to the communities, especially to our parents who have students that are seniors, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities out there right now. I know that I had posted a few on Proud Parents of Winslow and Winslow Talk. So if you do have a senior, please take advantage of those opportunities for scholarships with the requirements that's being listed. We don't want to leave any money on the table for our young people that are looking to pursue the next level of schooling. And those scholarship opportunities are out there. So I just wanted to just touch base on that and just remind people, take advantage, apply to those scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McClendon. Board members, any other comments or questions before we move on in the agenda? All right, moving now to our public comment portion. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values the input of citizens in making important decisions that affect the children of our community. We also believe in the rights of all citizens to observe our board meetings. To ensure that all citizens have the opportunity to call in to our school board meetings and offer comment, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district, we ask that speakers follow these guidelines for making public comments. The board president or board secretary will recognize those individuals in the audience who wish to make comment. Please respect the following procedures. Number one, all members of the public calling into our school board meetings must treat each other and the board with respect. Number two, please clearly state your full name and address. Number three, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. Number four, kindly submit your questions if you're not able to get them all answered this evening to the Board of Education with your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted. Your questions will be answered within a reasonable amount of time. And number 5, individuals offering citizen comment are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employee, board member, other testifier, or member of the public. And before I ask for a motion to open up, I would like to just to remind the public as you're calling in to please, and keep in mind that this technology is not perfect, and we ask that you quiet or mute any background sounds that you may have as you're calling in. Therefore, at this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve opening our meeting to public comment.
Motion, Shaw.
Blake, second.
Motion moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Ms. Chico, we're now open to public comment.
No one so far.
Okay. Board members, as we're waiting, I hope that we're all getting our shots. I would just like to say that I received my second shot 2 weeks ago, and I was told that now I'm fully vaccinated. So now I'm going to get my Superwoman cape and put it on, and my mask, because now I'm fully inoculated. But I will still wear my mask, still social distance, still wash the hands. Thought I'd share that with
Pitts, which one did you get?
I got the Moderna.
So did I, and my arm was on fire.
Was it your first or second shot?
It was my first one.
Oh, okay. Now I had a similar experience with my first shot. It wasn't on fire, but I received the shot on Friday morning, and the arm was sore until Sunday morning. Then a month later, which was last Friday, when I received the second shot, the Friday morning I was fine. Saturday morning I woke up, I thought I had the flu, but I had a low-grade temperature, but I did not panic. I simply went with the flow. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I took plenty of Advil, and so here we are, folks. So yeah, I was told that the second Moderna shot, some may receive some results. However, my husband, who went with me, who of course, as I do, has some health concerns, he's been skipping daisies ever since. Nothing stopped him. He's been still skipping daisies. So there you have it. Ms. Chico?
Yes, somebody is on the audio.
Okay, let's hear.
Okay. Hello and good evening. Welcome to the public comment section of tonight's board meeting. Please state your name and spell it and your address, and then proceed with your comment.
Michelle Shihadi, 7 Belmont Court, Shehadeh. Dr. Petit, I got a couple quick questions for you. Going by what you said with the teachers being out and you're only getting 2 of the day, I do know my child has been being sent to the auditorium instead of another classroom at the high school. Why can't she go into another classroom? Why do they have to go into the auditorium? That's one. And being sent to the auditorium instead of another classroom at the high school. Why? The other one is, can we get at least, I understand the HIPAA rules and all that, but can we at least get the cohort that the students who have tested positive for COVID, so that not every parent in the district is freaking out? Was that child in my daughter's or my son's classroom? Was it in my child's cohort? I understand not asking for name, age, or anything like that, just the cohort, because there has been 3 cases at the high school as of right now, plus there's been cases at school 2 and the middle school and school 6. So that's pretty much all I got. Sure.
I'm going to assume at this point you did have a conversation with the building principal. The auditorium is used when we have multiple teachers out. Now, and of course, the high school is the largest school to have the largest number of teachers. And when you have 10 teachers out, and I can recall there have been more than one day where there were 7 to 10 teachers out at the high school, and you cannot be able to accommodate all of those young people. So the auditorium is a space where you can have one substitute accommodate 2 or 3 classes if there are no other classes of that subject area available at that same period. And because we have a large array of courses, that is the possibility that that class is not necessarily available. We've also run into a situation where the classes were available and the student refused to go to that class and would prefer to go to the auditorium. But anyway, the auditorium provides us with an opportunity to bring in 3 classes. And in most cases, it may total 10, 12 students based on our numbers at this point, and still have an opportunity for them to social distance. Also, a class subject area, assignment is available because every teacher, when he or she is absent, must have emergency plans. And all the student have to do is go to that teacher's website and that lesson is there. So when they're in the auditorium, they're not sitting there doing nothing. They can go to their website, teacher's website, and do the lesson that is there. If they don't have a Chromebook, the principal will provide them with a Chromebook at that particular time. So when we're in a situation where there are multiple absences, the only way you can accommodate as many would be using a larger space that will accommodate social distancing and still make sure they're under the supervision of a certificated person. The other issue about being specific and knowing what cohort, you cannot get that information. The only thing that the state and the CDC and the Department of, New Jersey Department of Health state to us that you can and should inform the parents, the staff, that there was an individual who may have tested positive in the school, and that's pretty much it. The letters you have received pretty much spell out all the information that you can receive at this point. No more specifics or details will be available. Again, as you mentioned, the HIPAA violations, but also the confidentiality and the privacy of the individual is of the utmost. Now, you would never know whether it was a staff member, whether it was a student, whether it was a worker, whether it's cafeteria. It could be anyone in that building at that time, but you've only received the amount of information that is warranted at this point based on the guidelines that we're working under.
Okay. Oh, one more thing. When you're mentioning about the subs, way back in the day, I think when we first went remote, many of the retired teachers had called in and said, they would be willing to help us out with, I guess, absences or helping online or whatever.
Yes.
Has anybody reached out to them?
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the situation. If they want to be a substitute, all they have to do is call our subservice or call Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis will help them process the paperwork and they can become a substitute overnight. So it's just a matter of them, if they want to be. We've been advertising. We've continued to assist the Kelly services with whatever they ask us for. So if there's anyone out there, former teacher, retired teacher, who want to be a substitute, just contact Mr. Davis at the Human Resources Department and he will assist you with the paperwork.
Okay, and there's no way we were shutting down again, even though these the rate rose of 5%?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
Oh, I'm sorry. The rate rose 5% according to you and CDC. There's no way we're going to close again, right?
Well, at this point, the community spread, of course, will dictate to the local municipality as well as the school district whether or not we're going to close. The state from the governor will not intervene. He will not close the schools. And at this point, according to the most recent CDC guidelines, schools are the last to close because the schools have the least amount of community spread in comparison to the community in which you live in. And according to their regulations, we should continue to keep our schools open as much as possible. However, I have continued to say to the community that if the community spread get to where we were before at 17%, and that time we delayed the opening of schools, the community spread must rise to a point where we are not only red, but getting into that orange section, then we will close schools, because at that point, it's not a recommendation, it's mandatory. So at this point, we're far away from that situation at this point, but it will be the school district's responsibility to make that decision, and that would be a recommendation from the superintendent to the board, and the board would have to approve it. But at this point, we're far away from that situation.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruthie.
You're welcome.
No one else is in our waiting. No one is waiting.
Okay, Ms. Chico, we'll give it a few minutes before we decide to close it down. Okay, any other board members have some tales about getting their shots? No? Yes? Would like to share? No? Yes? Okay.
I'll share, Mrs. Pitts.
Is that Mr. Long?
I'll share.
Okay, Mr. Long.
I was sicker than any human being could have possibly imagined.
Oh, no.
Legs, burning arm. I had every symptom known to mankind. And the only one that wasn't surprised was my wife, who told me persistently that the symptoms I showed, she fully expected that I would show, and then some. It was a 2-day recovery.
Oh, Mr. Long, which one did you get?
I got the Moderna.
Oh, you got, yeah, the Moderna. Yeah. Has anyone gotten the Pfizer? No?
But Mr. Long, you do know that, okay. Mr. Long, you do know that and a reaction to the shot is better, because the expectation is that if you get symptoms, that means your immune system is responding and working on behalf of your system, and therefore you're in good shape. The testing that's going on with children in parts of the country, when they get their shots, they're looking for a reaction. If you don't get chills, if you don't get headachy, nausea, or something, then it's not responding. Your system is not responding to the shot. So your reaction is a good thing. And they say the worse you are, the more effective your system is responding.
Yeah.
Well, I am super resistant now, Doc. My wife.
Right. So, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Ms. Chico?
Still nobody's called in.
Okay. At this time, board members, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn public comment.
Motion, Shaw.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake to adjourn the public comment. I'm asking for a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Our public comment has been adjourned. Mr. Long, would there be an executive session?
I do not believe there is one. Is that correct, Dr. Petit?
Yes, you're right, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Long. So therefore, board members, at this time, before we adjourn, I would just like to say to all board members and to Winslow community and to our parents that on behalf of the board, we would just like to wish everyone a very happy and healthy Easter, because this is our last board meeting before the Easter break. You will not see us until after the Easter break. So I am wishing everyone a very happy and safe and healthy Easter. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion, Shaw.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Night.
Night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
You all.
Oh, good night.